What's going on, everybody? Today we have some very special guests, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves for you. Then we're going to dive into some gold. So, Kevin, if you want to take it away and let the folks know who you are.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chris. So I'm a serial entrepreneur and go all the way back to being an entrepreneur when I was 15 years old. My father pushed me, mentored me to start my own business. So I had a business in high school and a business in college. Quit school because I had 25 employees while I was in college and going to school and running the business. I finished at 11 o'clock at night and back at school at 8 in the morning. But make a long story short, one day I was watching television and the channel I was watching was a brand new cable situation. It went dark and it was dark for 6 hours. So I called the cable company thinking there was technical problems. And they said, no, this is a brand new channel. It's called Discovery Channel. Just launched. This is back in the early 80s now. So we're almost 40 years ago. And they said, it's a brand new channel. It's 18 hours a day. 6 hours a day, we're not going to give you anything. Okay. So now being an entrepreneur, my wheels started turning and I said, hey, can I fill that time with something that could be income producing? And they said, absolutely, come on down. So went down, talked to them, and then I started putting products on television. This is the birth now of the modern day infomercial. I'm called the inventor of the infomercial, but we started with Arnold Morris with Ginsu knives and the Food Saver and Tony Little fitness products and Jack LaLanne and the juicer, Billy Mays, George Foreman, hundreds and hundreds of products, shows. We took it public, New York Stock Exchange. We built a $500+ million company, and this was back then this went from the late 80s into like the mid 90s, and basically that was my birth and my first exit to kind of take some chips off the table and start acquiring some wealth in the process. But I've been in the business ever since and transitioned once the world of as seen on TV changed. And let me explain that. Television viewership has now dropped by over 50% in the last 8 years. So here I was. I owned Ascena TV Inc., AscenaTV.com. I was the Ascena TV guy, but viewership is plummeting. What am I going to do? Well, I got some mentors in my life and switched into digital. And now I sold all those assets, by the way. I sold those assets about 6-7 years ago, right before it was going to be too late. So I say, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. But basically, I finally sold those assets, got that phone call from Mark Burnett. Mark said, hey, would you like to be on Shark Tank? And I did Shark Tank then for a couple seasons also. So had a lot of fun building businesses, getting some amazing advice from some great mentors.
And Mark, what was your story? Did you also start early on? Did it come later?
I found myself in a situation where I've been successful in business. I had built some businesses. I had some exits. And so by all rights, I was successful in business. But this was the pivot for me. I was coming home every day and I was leaving a world of clarity and confidence and coming home to a world of chaos and confusion. And I knew that that's not the way it was supposed to be, that it wasn't just supposed to be business for me, that I was supposed to win at home, not just at work. And the book actually starts. So the book we wrote, Mentor to Millions, starts with me in my driveway, stopping at the end of my driveway, and I don't want to go home. Now, the reasons to not want to go home as an entrepreneur are I lost a lot of money. I went bankrupt. I had a horrible day. But the reason I didn't want to go home that day was because I just had one of the best days of my life. I just made every decision with confidence. I scored one of the biggest sales of my life. And the reason I'm sitting at the end of my driveway is because I don't want this feeling to end. And I knew the second I got home, I was going to be met with that chaos and confusion, and that feeling was over. But that was the day, I call it the driveway moment, where everything changed. You see, I was very fortunate to have had a mentor of Zig Ziglar young in my life. Now at this stage that I'm talking about, I'm very fortunate to have an original shark from Shark Tank, a serial entrepreneur that's had so much success in my life. And so I've had these great mentors in my life, but it hit me that I wasn't taking that mentorship home. In essence, I was taking home my last and my least instead of my best and my first. And that was the day that I realized, what if the most valuable business that I will ever own, ever operate, ever manage, ever even be associated with was the business I was going home to, not the business I went to. And that's the day that everything changed. I literally, when that moment happened, I hit the gas, flew home, grabbed my wife, started spewing out all these ideas of our family as a business. I don't think she understood a word I said, but she saw passion and conviction in my voice, and she said, I'm in. And the very next day, Chris, I incorporated my family. I legally incorporated my family. My family is on the corporate register as 2B Timm's LLC. My youngest child has the same amount of shares that I do in the corporation. We started having shareholder meetings on Sunday nights. We have a family logo. We have a family mission statement. Everything I learned from Kevin Harrington, I started bringing home to my family. Everything I learned from Zig Ziglar, I started bringing home to my family. I started saying, what if everything I'm doing in business is so that I could practice in business and get it perfect at home? And that's when I started scaling my relationships. I started scaling my family. And now I have relationships, my family value. That's why I say I'm the CEO of the most valuable business in the world. That's my family, because I wouldn't trade my family for any amount of money in the world. So I've had multiple businesses. I think I'm up to 15 different businesses. But now I realize that all of them are just so that I can be the husband and father, so that I can be the CEO dad that my family needs for me to be. And so that's the cool part about this book. We talk a lot about business. You can read this book and get note pages of ideas on how to grow your business, how to build a business, how to have your dream team. You can do all those things, but every chapter also ends with how you can apply that lesson to home. Because Kevin and I both believe that the most valuable business is the one we come home to. So there's this undercurrent of business and family, and it's not balance, it's integration that we teach in this book. So when we talk about mentorship, we talk about mentorship in business, we talk about mentorship in family and beyond.
This was one of my first stories of magical transformation for me, finding a mentor and supercharging my business. And as Mark and I talk, this isn't just adding a couple sales to the table. This is an exponential kind of growth. When you grow your business, flatline it to 50, and then take off from there. That's the beauty of what and why we say having a good mentor creates exponential benefit to the entrepreneur if the timing is all right, like we just talked about. The thing that people want, the folks, the entrepreneurs that are coming on the show Shark Tank, that are coming into existence, and forget about Shark Tank, though, just starting their own business, they need to assemble the dream team and not necessarily paying all of these people huge fat salaries, because you can't afford it typically when you're a startup entrepreneur. So you got to get creative on how you build this dream team and how you leverage it and things like that, because we sometimes teach entrepreneurs, and as a mentor, I will teach an entrepreneur how to build that dream team and how to build it without paying the big salaries.
The only thing that changed was me. So if you're listening and you want to start winning at home, it starts with your choice and your change to say, I'm going to bring everything I learn in business home and make my family my most valuable business.
That's beautiful.
I now have my first business that's well on its way to $100 million because of the mentorship of Kevin, because I took everything I learned about scalability, dream team, follow the eyeballs, aggressive curiosity, and I applied them all. And now I'm on a trajectory that I couldn't even imagine, and I would have never got without mentorship. So if you're out there listening and you're saying, but I don't have an inner circle, I don't know where to find a mentor. If you've got a social media, you have an inner circle. Those are people you're communicating with. If you want a mentor tomorrow, if you will go and literally post this, hi, you guys follow me, you listen to me, I listen to you, and guess what? I'm ready to learn more about e-commerce. I'm ready to learn more about finances in my business. I'm ready to learn more about growing my business. You pick whatever it is you want to learn, but I need help. And I know there's someone out there that can help me. Would you be that person, or would you introduce me to that person? And Chris, I guarantee you, if you can be that honest, that vulnerable, that direct, not just will one mentor show up, you'll be interviewing mentors. There'll be so many people. And here's the deal. They don't have to be following you on social media. one of the people following you knows who you need to talk to. Okay. It may not be them. It may be somebody they know. I didn't know Kevin Harrington. I knew Zig Ziglar's children. Zig Ziglar's children introduced me to Kevin Harrington. So Kevin wasn't in my inner circle, but Zig Ziglar's children were, and they introduced me to Kevin. That's how this works. I believe this is so important for you to understand. I believe that you already know everybody you need to know to accomplish everything you were set out to accomplish on this earth. And then if you really want to go to the next level, I'll give you the trifecta of how this thing works. Number one, you get a mentor. Number two, you become their best student. And then number three, you have to teach what you've learned to someone else. You must become a mentor, a teacher, a coach to someone else. It's like a brick wall. Okay, we all love brick. It's strong. People build houses out of it. They build foundations out of it. But the mentor's job is to give you the bricks. Your job is to collect the bricks and assemble them in a way that you can build on them. But even my smallest child can knock over any brick wall that doesn't have concrete or mortar. Okay, they're not strong at all. So to get them locked in, to get them strong that you can build on them, you have to teach what you've learned to someone else. That's the concrete. That's the mortar. That's the glue that holds it all together. And when you do those three things, now you've built a foundation that you can build a business on, you can build a family on, you can build a life on. But a lot of people just collect bricks. They listen to podcasts, they get mentors, and they got this great brick collection, but they can't build anything on it because they never taught it to someone else. So if you want to really maximize the relationship with a mentor, you learn everything you can, you listen, but then you teach it to someone else. That is the magical equation. That's the exponential impact. The name of this book is Mentor to Millions. Chris, it has nothing to do with money. It's about impact. The millions we're talking about is millions of people impacted. The whole underlying current of the book is if you have a product, purpose, or passion that the world needs, the quickest way to get it to the world is mentorship. The quickest way to impact 1 million people is mentorship. And oh, by the way, if you impact 1 million people, you'll never have to worry about money again.
Did you like what you just saw? Well, great, because our YouTube channel is chock full of tips on how to grow your online business and learn from the best in the industry. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss out. And if you're looking for the absolute best software for entrepreneurs at the lowest possible price, then you should absolutely head over to appsumo.com and subscribe to our email list. Heck, we'll even throw in 10% off your first order just to make it a no-brainer. Now, you're in on one of the best kept secrets in software.